With the NHL draft just a couple of days away, let's rewind and review an already fruitful draft for the Dallas Stars. It's a 2021 draft look back.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Happy Wednesday, Stars fans. We are just 2 days away from the 2024 NHL Draft. Who will the Dallas Stars take at number 29 this year? But I thought it would be fun to take a look back at 2021, aka the Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven draft. How did they fare after those two picks? Where are the prospects now? And a bit more. Plus, we'll have a 2021 redraft on today's episode. So buckle up. We're going to have a ball on a Wednesday. By the way, I know I promised Ryan Chambers today as a guest from Sarcastic Remarks. He will be out tomorrow. That episode will be done today on a Wednesday, and I will post it tomorrow. So stick around to hear Ryan. It'll be the first time I've caught up with him since the end of the Star season. So I'm really intrigued to hear his opinions as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So if I can take you back to 2021 for a moment, at least the 2021 NHL draft, I think you can grade a lot of these teams on a curve because if you recall, this was a really, really weird draft year due to the fact that a lot of these prospects did not play consistently in their draft year due to COVID. And that was one of the reasons maybe Wyatt Johnston fell down to the Dallas Stars at number 23 in the first round. And obviously the Stars are reaping the benefits of what seems to be an elite center iceman. So you can grade a lot of these teams probably on a curve just because it was a really, really weird time. Johnston only played a handful of games. Really, the only games Dallas got to see of him was at the World Juniors tournament, which was held in Dallas. So you have to give the Stars some credit for doing their homework on a player like Johnston because a lot of people thought it was a bit of a reach at that point in time. But some other names I want to throw out there that were a part of this 2021 draft class. Owen Power went number 1 overall. He's very good. Matthew Beniers went 2nd overall to Seattle. He's a very good player as well. Mason Mactavish at number 3. Luke Hughes at number 4. Kent Johnson at number 5 to Columbus. So really the first 5 picks have actually panned out pretty neatly in the National Hockey League. So you got to give credit to Buffalo, Seattle, Anaheim, New Jersey, and Columbus. But I think if you went back and you talked to most teams, Wyatt Johnston probably would have been taken number 1 overall. That just shows you how great of a pick Wyatt Johnston was for the Dallas Stars. Some other names I want to throw out there: Cole Sillinger from Columbus, Dylan Guenther from Arizona, Olin Zellweger. He was in the 2nd round for Anaheim. Of course, Stankoven went to the Stars at number 47. So there are some good depth picks already. J.J. Moser, who's a defenseman, just 23 years old. He plays for the Coyotes. He's had an excellent career so far. So there are some good value picks in this draft. And of course, we're just 3 years removed. There's still a lot of time for some players to make their names, but we have an idea of what some career trajectories may look like. So I figured, why the heck not? Let's have some fun and take a look back. The Dallas Stars had 10 picks, 10 selections in this year's draft. They ended up taking 5 forwards and 5 defensemen, and we'll touch on all of them today. Obviously, Wyatt Johnston, he's the cream de la cream of the crop. And he already leads this draft class in points, 106 points in 164 games. Matthew Beniers is behind him with 103 points in 167 games. Beniers, of course, won the Calder Trophy over Wyatt. I think if Wyatt played a more pivotal role in the Stars offense instead of just kind of a piece or more of a role player, he probably could have won Calder. He obviously had a very strong second season. He banks his first 30-goal year. Beniers had a bit of a sophomore slump, and Seattle in general did. I think everybody on Seattle had a sophomore slump in a lot of ways. So Beniers is right behind him. Mactavish with 88 points, and those three are obviously wonderful players. But then you go down to 47 in Logan Stankoven. Wins the AHL Rookie of the Year. By the way, I do want to make the note, Maverick Bourque won the AHL MVP of the year, and that was the first time since 2014 that a team had both the AHL Rookie and AHL MVP of the year, and the Texas Stars did that as well. Travis Morin won the AHL Rookie of the Year, and then Travis Morin won the MVP. Curtis McKenzie won the Rookie of the Year. So shout out to the Texas Stars for developing wonderful prospects, even though Logan Stankoven was ready to play right from the jump. He already has 14 points in the first 24 games, and you have two players that are going to be key fixtures of your future in Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven. It looks like those two are going to be around for a decade plus, which is almost too exciting to even think about. Talk about getting your jollies. It's thinking about Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven playing together for the next decade. And you got to add Maverick Bourque in there, who was just taken a year prior. But now you get into some of the third round, fourth, fifth, sixth round selections. And it's always interesting to take a look at those two. Artem Grushnikov, he was taken at 48. Dallas had back-to-back picks in that second round. Of course, Grushnikov was moved this trade deadline for the acquisition of Chris Tanev. Grushnikov went over to Calgary, and he played with the Calgary Wranglers this season and finished up a pretty nice year in the AHL. I know a lot of people were high on him. He was a very, very good prospect. It seemed like it was up in the air when you heard conversations about Jamil and how he acquired Tanev. Stankoven and Grushnikov were kind of the pieces, but Grushnikov really stood out to Calgary. He was their guy. So it made a lot of sense for Dallas, because if they asked for Stankoven, I think there was no way you were getting him. And I was on board for that too. You can give up anybody, but Stankoven or Bourque, those are the two that are off limits. So if they ask for them, you just hang up the phone. But Grushnikov was the guy for Calgary, and obviously they've been kind of on a fire sale. They may be again this season. They got rid of Zadorov, Hanifin, and Tanev, so they need to replenish their farm system with some decent defensive prospects. At number 73 in the third round, it's Artem Martino. Martino is a forward out of Canada. He currently has played with Clarkson University. In his last 3 years, he's put up some decent numbers. 29 points in his first year. He led the team with 38 in 22-23. He had 9 goals and 18 assists this past season for Clarkson in 23-24. He is still unsigned, so we'll see how his career pans out. But just a quick little snippet for you on Martino. He moves so well off the puck to find pockets of space offensively in areas where he can get off a quick shot. He's a master of the give and go. He identifies the best play before receiving the pass, then one-timer the puck to an open hook and slip passes allow him to contort his puck positioning to pass through defenders. That is from the 2021 Elite Prospects NHL Draft Guide. So Martino currently playing for Clarkson in the NCAA. He played for Omaha at the USHL, put up 56 points, a very, very good developmental league as well. You'll see a lot of players from the USHL be picked this weekend. And just to quickly move through some, because there was a lot of picks, Justin Ertl, a forward, was taken in the third round at number 79. He was actually signed to an entry-level contract, a 3-year entry-level contract back in March. I don't think we ever touched on it just because there was a lot more important things going on at the time. At just 20 years old, 66 points in 61 regular season games in the Ontario Hockey League with the North Bay Battalions. So he's had a very, very good OHL career so far, and we'll see how he pans out down the line. Some other names to make note of: Connor Roulette was taken in the 4th round at 111th overall. He is no longer a Dallas Stars prospect. He currently plays with the Tulsa Oilers in the ECHL and has had a few good seasons as well in the WHL. So Connor Roulette is currently not with the Dallas Stars. You move on to Jack Barr, who's played at Harvard University, Jacob Holmes, another defenseman, and then you have one in the 6th round at 175th overall, Francesco Arcuri, and he currently played with the Idaho Steelheads this past season, had a wonderful, wonderful year. Looks like he may make the step up to Texas next season. So this is maybe a nice value pick for the Stars. 46 points in 64 games in the ECHL. He's just played one game in the AHL, but off to a nice start in his pro career. He's just 21 years of age, an $825,000 cap hit. He, of course, is signed with the Dallas Stars. Players like Jacob Holmes, he is not signed, in Jack Barr as well. So there's just a bit of an overview for the 2021 NHL draft for the Dallas Stars and a little where are they now. But overall, you have to really like the selections that the Stars have made, of course, in the first 2 rounds. And as I mentioned, it was a very weird time in the world of hockey with some of the Canadian junior leagues not playing. I want to say maybe the USHL was the only major junior league playing, at least without some restrictions. Obviously, they're playing with some. It was just a weird time for the WHL and the OHL and respective junior leagues. So it made it pretty tough for some of these teams to really do their homework on certain prospects. Obviously, there was some that were thought to be can't miss, but there were players like Johnston, who was not very well known. He played on a Canadian team that had some really high-level players like Mactavish that got a lot of the spotlight. And then, boom, Johnston gets picked at 23, and he's already making a huge impact at the National Hockey League level. Let's continue a look back at 2021 in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. Stars fans, with all the parts you need at the prices you want, bring home the MVP. It's so easy to make your car the MVP and bring home that huge win. eBay Motors, baby. The prices you want and the parts you need. So go ahead, keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. The Dallas Stars obviously hit the jackpot with the first 2 picks of their 2021 NHL draft. Wyatt Johnston at 23 overall and Logan Stankoven at 47th overall, which makes 2024 really intriguing because Dallas is picking at number 29. And a lot of experts and draft scouts think this is a much deeper draft than it was a year ago. So there are some good signs that Dallas could get a really, really nice player at number 29, and a player that could make a impact at the National Hockey League level. And if it's one thing we've found out recently about the Stars is whatever they've changed in their draft process, draft scouting, whatever it is, prospect evaluation, they've done a really nice job at finding picks late in drafts that are making impacts, whether that's at the AHL level or in the National Hockey League. And there was a question asked a few days ago, just taking a look back at the draft, about why taking a player like Radek Faksa in the first round. Players like Tufte and Honka, who of course just fizzled out rather quickly. And look, the NHL draft is obviously not like others in the four major sports. It's not the NFL, and even in the NFL, we all expect those first round picks to make an impact. And the reality is there's 3 to 5 players every year from the first round that turn out to be Pro Bowlers or even all pro players, right? It just is really hard to project some of these players, let alone in the National Hockey League, when there's those can't miss prospects sometimes. There's the Celebrinis, there's the Bedards, but you got to be picking in the top 3. And yeah, Faksa with his ceiling maybe wasn't a first round pick, but it's hard to knock Dallas for picking up a player that has been a fourth line center for you for, 4 to 6 years. That's a good player. Yeah, it's not Patrick Kane, but that's still a really, really good player, and a good find. Yeah, you can make an argument against players like Tufte, where that was a bit of a reach at the time, and Honka, of course, did not pan out. We're starting to see some similarities with Niels Lundqvist, of course, but you have to take a grain of salt with everything, because it's just really, really hard to find talent. And I think most GMs, and to be honest, I think there's probably some general managers and just, scouting department staff that would say, look, we don't know a ton more than the average Joe sometimes, right? Obviously, they're putting in the hours watching the tape, and I don't want to discredit them for putting in long hours and scouts traveling across the world to go find these prospects. But when you're talking about projections and where these players could fit, with most of them, we have a just as good as an idea of someone that's maybe is the highest position in an organization sometimes. But obviously that doesn't discredit all the hard work and hours the scouting department and these scouts are putting in to evaluate these prospects. And that's something we have to give a huge round of applause to Jim Nill and company for finding a way to maybe change their philosophy, not drafting for need as much. You're right. Talked about that, and where it's not so much just drafting for need, right? Like pick the best player available. And if that's Ryder Ritchie this year, jump on it. If that's Charlie Ehrlich or Harrison Brunick, some of the guys I've mentioned throughout this process, go ahead and take them if you think that's the right pick. It doesn't always have to be the best need, which we all know a need is a right-handed defenseman. But when you're looking at Dallas, they're trying to get over the hump in the Western Conference Final. They're trying to win now. They're trying to win a Stanley Cup. They're not banking on someone from this draft to just step right in and be the savior, right? It's going to have to be an external option. So you're just looking to replenish your farm system and continue to develop prospects. And if it's one thing they need to do a bit better at, it's developing a defenseman in general. Developing a right shot defenseman would be great. I don't know how much development Miro needed. Harley did need some work, and credit to them. They got him ready, and he made a huge step this last season. But, you've already hit on 2 out of your 10 pick. Well, at least you think you have. Wyatt looks like he's going to be a great player. You can say the same about Stankoven. Doesn't mean they're going to be top 10 players in the National Hockey League. I think Wyatt Johnston can creep in there at some point. Maybe I'm a bit bullish on him, but he's had a wonderful start to his career. Arcuri is an interesting player that you took in the 6th round. Let's see how his career sort of shapes out as the years go on. Grushnikov obviously hurts, but you're happy you made the move. You had to get a player like Chris Tanev. If they did not acquire him, there's no way they make the Western Conference final. And they made a Western Conference final basically playing 5 defensemen for a couple of months. So Chris Tanev was obviously a huge, huge addition. Okay, just another look back at 2021. There was some more comments and a more fixture on Dallas in their draft process. Let's do a 2021 NHL redraft. These are always fun. Which guys really missed out, and which players maybe find their way into the top 10 that wouldn't have been at the time. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is obsessed with finding you ways to save money on tickets, and also Game Time is here for the dog days of summer. You know why? They are the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. I went to Fenway Park yesterday. I went to the Game Time app. I picked the section I wanted. They have zone deals. I saw the view from the seat before I bought it. Bada bing, bada boom, couple of clicks. I'm going to the Boston Red Sox game. So go ahead, download the Game Time app. It takes 30 seconds on your smartphone. It's available on the App Store. It's available on Google Play. Find last-minute tickets, zone deals, wherever you need. It can be Major League Baseball. It can be concerts, comedy, theater, you name it, they have it. So go ahead, download the Game Time app, take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONHL. That's Locked On NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Owen Power was the number 1 overall pick in 2021. If you had to select those players, knowing what we know now, would they still go in that order? And I think Wyatt Johnston clearly would go number 1 in this 2021 redraft. Owen Power is still a great player, and he'll be a top pair defenseman for Buffalo for the next decade, along with Rasmus Dahlin. I really like Owen Power's game. I think he's going to continue to be a fantastic player in the NHL. I think there's a case. I would still take him at number 2. It's hard to find big, powerful, fleet-footed defensemen, and I think Buffalo is pretty happy with their selection, even knowing what they know now. So I'll give Buffalo some credit there. Now you get to some interesting selections with Beniers, who went number 2. I'm not as high on Beniers as other people. He had a wonderful rookie year. He doesn't do it for me as a player. There's just certain guys that I don't necessarily love. He gives me what he gives me is sort of Mitch Marner. I think he's really talented. He's not as skilled as Marner. And look, his point production, I don't think is going to reach those levels, but just not my favorite type of player. I don't know why. He just doesn't do it for me. Maybe it's because he beat out Wyatt for the Calder, but it doesn't impress me a ton. I just think he's a bit overrated for my taste. Okay. So you can destroy me in the comment section below, even though I don't know if I'll get much pushback from all you Locked On Stars listeners. Shout out to you everydayers. Mason Mactavish, that's where I would take him at number 3. I think he fits right in with Anaheim, has 88 points in 153 games. He's lit up the Stars already early in his career. He's a great little player. Just really, really enjoy watching him play. Sort of Wyatt Johnston-esque in some way, just kind of a undersized forward that's made an excellent little center iceman for the Ducks. And look, they're looking like they want to move off Zegras now. So Mactavish is going to be kind of the guy they build around. I actually went back to an Athletic article. This was written in October, by the way. And it's just funny looking back at how Wyatt Johnston was viewed coming into the season. And I do not give this article any grief. This is from Corey Pronman, but he wrote a 2021 redraft article, and he made tiers for each of these players. Tier 1 bubble elite was Beniers and Luke Hughes. Bubble elite NHL player, NHL All-Star. Tier 2 was NHL All-Star, Owen Power and Mactavish. And then you have tier 3 bubble NHL All-Star and top of the lineup player. That's where Wyatt Johnston fits in. So they have Power, Mactavish, Beniers, and Hughes above him. And look, Hughes, great player on defense. I don't think he is the best defenseman on New Jersey, and that's not a shockwave. I don't know if we'll ever become that. I think he's a nice player, and maybe I haven't watched him enough, but I don't know if he's going to be that shut down, everyday defenseman in the National Hockey League. He'll be top 4 for most of his career, but I just think it's funny that Wyatt Johnston's behind Mactavish, Power, Hughes, and Beniers in this, where I think Johnston has the highest potential out of those players. But look, I don't give him any grief as well. This was after one season, so it's still very, very hard to project these players. Have to show some love to players like Matthew Nyes, who was picked at number 57 by the Maple Leafs. He looks like he's going to be a strong contender. I watched him play a ton of games at the University of Minnesota, just dominated college hockey. He was a lot of fun to watch, plays a very similar style game already in the National Hockey League, and he's already scored some big time goals in the playoffs. He's going to be a great piece for some time in this league. Minnesota, they took Jesper Wallstad at number 20. I know the Stars obliterated him in his first career NHL start, but he's been a stud in the AHL. I think he's going to eventually find himself a home in the National Hockey League. But I think if you redraft or reorder the top 5, it would be Johnston, Power, Mactavish, Beniers, Hughes, and I'd probably put Johnston behind them. Willem Eklund, a great player that San Jose took at number 7. He had 52 points and 97 games so far in his career. You could throw him up in the conversation. Some players that probably would have been in the top 10, but some really nice value picks. Matthew Nyes is one I mentioned. J.J. Moser, Arizona at number 60, has already had a really nice beginning to his career. So those are the names that would probably slip their way into the top 10. Obviously, a lot more time is needed for some of these prospects to eventually make an impact, because the majority of them were taken at 18 years of age. So a lot of hockey is still left in their young careers. So there's a bit of a look back in a 2021 redraft for you on Locked On Stars. So it would be fun to take a look back at a already fruitful draft for the Dallas Stars, and maybe 2024 turns out to be the same, albeit they don't have a lot of picks. A first-round pick at number 29, a 5th round, and a 7th round pick. Not a lot of assets. They've shifted them off for good reason. They're trying to get players, and they're in a window to win now. You may see some picks be moved more and more. Who knows? Maybe Dallas is going to trade their first-round pick for a right-handed defenseman at some point, or they go ahead and stand pat and take a player. So should be very, very intriguing. Thank you, as always, for the love and support of Locked On Stars. Shout out to all you everydayers out there. Really means the world for taking this content in every single day in the off season. I know it's hard to find Dallas Stars talk daily, and I try to be a source for you every single day where it's fresh, something new, sometimes a bit exciting and entertaining, hopefully, because it can get kind of boring. But hey, it's about to really pick up. We got free agency right around the corner, and everything's going to be going crazy. So a lot of fun is still to be had this off season. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. By the way, Ryan Chambers tomorrow's episode on a Thursday from Starcastic Remarks. Drop any comments below if you want me to ask him some questions. Drop your questions, I should say, if there's anything specifically you would like me to ask, because I enjoy having guests, because I have all these questions and I feel like I'm always asking you, which is not bad, and I love your feedback, but it would be nice to keep the conversation rolling a bit more, hearing from other people. So excited for that. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.